Turned it on.
Oprandi
Paolo.
from the University of Sussex. So over to you. Oh,
Yeah, I'm here today to talk to you about 5 years of Moodle at Sussex. We've heard quite a lot today over the conference of the need to convince our staff to use Moodle and the training that's necessary. And I think another way to try and encourage use of Moodle is to make our staff want to use it, easy to use, and easy for them to make something attractive. You don't really get Facebook training courses, and I don't think a lot of us are looking at a lot of the help, but there are a lot of the common same features and functionality. So our team here today is the head of the learning systems, Carol Shergold, John Davis, education developer, and two developers, Stuart and myself, who are an e-learning developer and educational technologist. As I say, we've been running a Moodle installation for 5 years, since 2006. Like other people, we came from a project-based WebCT installation to Moodle, which is campus-wide. And since 2006, our use of, or the number of courses that have had a Moodle site has increased from 22% to 80%, which we think is pretty good. That is about 1,500 sites this year, and yeah, courses with sites. We get about 7,500 unique hits per day on a Monday in term time. And we get quite good, well, we think from a first year survey that we've been doing the last couple of years, our student satisfaction scores have been increasing from 92% of our first year students have said it's easy to use, and 89% say it supports learning. And I think a lot of us know that Moodle people generally find it easy to use, but we think some of the developments that we've made at Sussex have made it even have made these scores what they are, as high as they are. So I would like to share them with you today, and hopefully you'll agree that they might be, well, hopefully they'll be beneficial to you. You might think they're beneficial to you and your institutions. Excuse me. So there's two main strands of development that we've been engaged in. That's integrating institutional data with Moodle. I'm sure a lot of you have been involved with that, and we've also improving the usability of Moodle for our users. We commissioned a local usability expert at the University of Sussex to do some usability studies to guide us on ways which we can improve our installation or our install. So, Stuart, would you like to? So, yeah, the first thing we've worked on, as I said, is integrating our data. So all staff and students have a Moodle user account. That obviously includes and we get the kind of user data that is inherent in Moodle, such as the username, email, preferred name, and things like that. But we also keep a record of the role that they have at Sussex. So, for example, I'm a student of education. I'm doing a course in. I'm in the school. I'm in the Department of Education, doing a professional doctorate, and I'm in year 5. I'm also a staff in ITS, in our information services, and that's kept within our Moodle install, as well as a link to my staff profile page, and that's the same with all users, and that's pre-populated. We've also integrated this data into searches, so when you're looking for users, you can filter by these kind of things. So if, for example, you have a Moodle course that is actually for a program, you can quickly find all the first years doing an undergrad program in education, for example, and populate your site. So I think that benefits our users well. And of course, the other thing that we've done is integrated course data. So all courses have a representation in Moodle. And when I say course, I mean for some of you will call it a module. In Sussex, a module is a course. So of course, the course will come across with all the enrolment data and so all the students, it will be populated with the students, and it will also be populated with the staff with the appropriate levels of permission. We also include the term that the course module is running, the year that it's running, and the level it's aimed at. We also keep modules or course modules for 3 years, or actually we don't get rid of modules. So if you're a third year student and you want to return to your course from your first year, you can, and you can return to the discussions that you were having in that first year. So that's kind of, they're the main ways that we've integrated data. We'll talk a little bit about how we've integrated also teaching groups in a moment. But the only other thing that we'd really like to do in the future is have a close integration with assessments, which sit on our central system largely at the moment. So now I want to talk about how we've improved the usability of Moodle for our users at Sussex. This is the first page that a member of staff or student will come to when they log on. And it basically is pretty minimal. All it has is a list of the courses that they've been pre-enrolled on. They can then go and have a self-enroll themselves on some of the courses that made themselves available if they need to. But basically, this is a list of courses that they're on. It has a list of the upcoming activities that they're expected to do on that course. So here that in the human physiology, they've got some quizzes coming up, and they can see that quickly at a course level from their first page. Forum updates, so if someone's posted to a forum since they've last logged on, they will see that, and also if there are any assignments due, they'll be able to see that kind of data. So that's the first page that they come to, and we don't have any sort of extra data that can confuse them or take them off elsewhere. It's quite a simple, clean view. I'll talk to you a little bit about the image in a moment. The next 3 developments that I'm going to talk about, by the way, this is just a fraction of the actual developments that we have done at Sussex. But the next 3 are about how we've improved the ability for our tutors to create sites, because of course it's up to them to really make the learning environment for our students, and we need to make that as easy as possible. And the first way I'm going to talk about is there are a few course settings which all members of staff will need to use, but they're embedded. I don't know, most of you are probably aware that they're embedded within a lot of course settings that they probably don't need to use, and they're pretty hard to find. So at Sussex, we've created a quick editor bar that when they turn editing on, they basically get 3 options. Make your course available to students, increase the number of topics and sections, and basically these are the 2 course settings from a standard Moodle install that we think most members of staff are likely to change. But the third one we have is you can upload a course picture. This is a graphical representation of your site, making it more friendly, making it easier to find when you're looking at your course list, and so you don't need to read it. And it's not text-based. It immediately gives your site some colour and personality. Um, yeah, so I think different institutions have implemented a quick site editor bar in different ways, but that's how we've done it at the moment. Um, the next thing I'd like to talk to you about is the drop-down list that you get when you adding resources and activities. Now, we found from our usability studies that a lot of people didn't know what each of the different resources or activity types were, why they were different, why they should use them, and therefore usually weren't using them. So instead, we've changed that drop down to two buttons, add a resource and add an activity. So when they click on that, so you click on add a resource, it's basically a dialog box with some explanation of what each of the resource types are, so they're not guessing, and also a link to the help if they want more information. We also divided add a file from make a link, because I can't remember what it was. Add a link to a file or website was quite confusing for a lot of people because they don't really seem that linked to most of us. And do you want to just, and we've done the same thing with activities, of course, a different pop-up box with some explanation of what they are. And we kind of imagine that more of these are being used as a result, because they're not just names, which they don't have a clue about what they're about. So the other another improvement we made is uploading a file. I don't know what people think, but uploading a file can be quite a few steps in Moodle, and it seems pretty unnecessary. Stuart, would you also like to go to add a file? We've also think that the form that you get in a standard Moodle install is pretty long, given what you normally want to do. So we basically have we've four things that they can add: a title for the resource, uploading a file, and a couple of others, and then an advanced button. And even that's vastly reduced because we didn't think many of those different options that were made available to the user were really necessary. So when you do choose or upload a file, you can obviously see your files directory and everything that you've already loaded, so you can select one of them. But you probably want to add a new file. And so when you do, firstly you've got a progress bar, because I don't know if you've tried to upload a 60 megabyte file at home before, but it takes about half an hour and you don't have a clue what's going on. At least with this, you can. There was a progress bar, I missed it, but you know, you can see that something's happening.
Okay, bigger file. This might take a while. I've got,
don't worry.
a huge MP3, so kind of crunch. Is that all right? Get it there.
Yeah. I should say, of course, we're running 1.9. And some of these developments have been implemented in different ways in Moodle 2.
Great.
Okay, so where am I? Just wondering. Oh yeah, and also, so what happened there? I don't know if you noticed, when he added a file, he didn't then have to go and choose it. Normally you take him back to that page and you have to go and choose it, and it went straight back to the form. It was already populated, because if you've just added a file and you want to add a resource, you want to add a file for that resource. If you want to go and manage your files, you go to the files directory, which you can still do in Moodle 1.9, and you can upload multiple files. So I was hoping we were going to get some ooze. Yeah. Stuart, would you like to?
What are the configuration variables for making it work with 0.9 somewhere?
Yeah, so that's integration and usability, and the final thing I'm going to talk about is one of our developments, which includes a bit of both, um, a massive interface redesign and integrating with our institutional data. How many people use groups here? Anyone use groups at all? Oh, great, that's quite a lot, so that's exciting. So I don't know how easy people find it, but good. No, we didn't find it very easy, and usability studies um, showed that most people don't. When you go to groups now, you don't have a whole load of buttons and options of what to do, and you don't see the word grouping immediately as one of the tabs either. You basically get told you haven't set up any groups, go and set them up. So the first thing so you immediately can set up a group. We also changed the name grouping to supergroup. I don't think grouping is that bad a name, but it's more obvious that a supergroup is a group of groups than grouping is, although you kind of get that after a while. So one of the main reasons we started looking at groups is because we wanted to be able to import groups from our central database. In Sussex, a course module will have several different teaching groups. So it may have a lecture with a whole cohort of students, but then that cohort of students may be separated into different seminar groups, laboratory groups, and so on and so forth. And they might want to discuss their seminar group-based discussions or whatever on the online site. And previously, in order to recreate that group in Moodle, it would have been a manual process, but we've already got the data. Okay, so I've got 5 more minutes. But we now can see that there were 4 different types of teaching group there. It was seminar and class from different terms. Stuart's just imported the seminar from our teaching groups, and they've all been set up and ready to go.
So we've done a live lookup, which is your register.
That's right, we have, yeah, and brought it in. You can then do everything manually that you need to do. For those of you who are familiar with groups, the process of creating groups and supergroups or groupings is far more easy. It takes you through a flow of what you need to do rather than having to guess what you're meant to do next. So I've made a group, where do I need to go and populate that group? It takes you directly to this page, and then you take them straight back to this page, which looks a bit like the summary page that you have in groups, but you've actually got some functionality there where you can immediately go and manage your group. So we like that. I haven't got time. We've also seriously improved messaging as well, but I'm not going to talk about messaging today. But if anyone would like to talk about that later with us, I'd be really interested to talk to you about it. Finally, I'm going to talk about what we intend to do in the future. I don't know if anyone's been following the tweets about Squirrel of Death or Scroll of Death. A lot of Moodle sites are very long lists of stuff here. What was it? Wall, yeah. Well, we called it a scarf. It's just like a long scarf of data. It's like a long wiki. It's not that pretty. So here we've got an example of a site where the tutors put a lot of effort into making a beautiful site full of rich content. He's put contextualized data, but this is what he's had to produce. That's what Moodle has given him to, that's the best he can do. And we want to make this easier to make the kind of site that he'd be proud to have. He or she, I'm not sure. So we thought, we've called it a page format. It's a different format. You've got the topics, the weeks, the social format. We've called it a page format. I thought maybe, I've had a thought on the train that maybe it should be a chapter format. So would you like to see that same site but in a page format? Basically, if you have a look how far you need to scroll on this page, it's pretty minimal. You've got a load of chapters or pages on the left-hand side. And within that, we've got some sub-chapters, sub-pages. You've got all of the information there that you need. Now, if I wanted to add a page, do you want to show them adding a page? you need to give the page, of course, a title, and that will be the link that you'll see on the left-hand side. Yeah, yeah. This is the this is the problem with Moodle, isn't it? Everything's you can see everything immediately, which is good in some ways, but not good in others. This, yeah. Yeah. So basically, when Stuart has created this page or added this topic, which would be the old way of doing it, he gets taken to the topic or the page. So he can do some editing. He can now. I don't know if you've added a topic in Moodle. You're certainly using the editor, the course site, course editor thing. You basically don't really know whether it's happened. Have you got 14 or 13 topics? I'll have to go and count them. Here you get taken to the topic that you were working on, and you can add your content. If you want to start moving stuff about, moving your pages around, changing your site structure, you can edit your site structure. This is the kind of view that we're thinking you might have. So I can move pages around quickly, rename them. I can make sub-chapters easily, and so on and so forth. Well, homegrown. I mean, I know both of those. We currently use the UE menu, and I know the book. Stuart, who developed this, doesn't actually know the book, but it is slightly similar to the book, isn't it? But but the book is a module within a course.
Just bearing in mind the time, I said all the looks great, by the way.
Yeah.
That's my first bit. But I do want to leave some time for questions. Is there anything else you need to do?
I think that's it.
Yeah. Shown loads. Got loads more we can show you. But
Just
brain overload.
and the other thing, just wanted to mention, is the blog. So,
Find out about it.
and we really want collaboration, and we want to work together to make it.
Oh yeah, we did search this as well.
So that's our blog. So yeah.
Morning, Google.
We will look for that and look forward to reading that, following your progress and commenting. I'm sure there'll be lots of hits on your blog. Are there some questions then, please?
Yeah, about how you planning to upgrade to the 2.0.
Yeah.
If yet, you will have to develop, to redevelop Moodle.
It's a bit weird because Moodle 2 has got this stuff where it allows you to put page titles in at the start. So this kind of thing is based on the fact that when you have sections got a title, they have that in Moodle 2 in the database. So we actually developed this in Moodle 2 and import it back to 1.9.
So it will work in Moodle too.
It's the wrong way round, I know. And we've got the code on the blog, so if you have a look on the blog, you can find the code in 1.9 and in 2, and it tells you kind of useful stuff to look at if you have a problem with doing the same thing.
Just for the microphone, you can repeat the question as well, in case it doesn't come out on the video.
Okay.
Great.
From copyright.
How we protect material. Is that a concern of your individual academics? Is that their concern? They're worried that their material might be borrowed or worse? Yeah. Do you have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, Carol?
sure that if we allow it so that tutors can control exactly who has access to their site, and we do, they can choose that it's via university in, they can choose to keep it really locked down, they can choose anything in the middle. And we've got quite a few different ways that we hope to open it up to people. I don't know if you can...
We haven't really worked on that as part of our development.
Yeah.
Just let Moodle do it.
I mean, it's perhaps more of a general discussion.
It's a Moodle thing,
and
isn't it?
perhaps certainly counter to the general Moodle philosophy, but nonetheless a genuine concern, I'm sure. Having said that, paper resources and books and plagiarism is a concern for students, that's perhaps. I've got one question, if you don't mind me jumping in, and that is clearly the file structure of Moodle 2 is different to 1.9. I really like the way that you've developed that file upload. Does that work in a similar way, just as well?
There isn't, in Moodle 2 they don't have the same file structure. We unfortunately don't have an institutional repository for files yet, so we're unable to test that.
So you're waiting to develop that?
We need to get some budget for an institutional file repository, or what's that guy's blog? The Australian Moodle guy.
Mark Dashley.
And if you follow the links from that, there's a plugin you can get for Moodle 2, which basically does load database queries and reintegrates so tutors have a files folder in Moodle 2, and they can go into that files folder and then manage their files. And so if that turns, from testing with our tutors, if it turns out they don't like the fact that they can't manage their own files yet, then we might well go down that route.
Sure. Okay, good. We've got time perhaps for one more question.
I'm from Christchurch. I like kind of e-university structure of platform research. Quite surprised because you've done a lot of changes to Moodle there to effectively make it more like Blackboard. How would you respond to that?
What happens is we have 3 development cycles throughout the year. We have a user group with all our tutors throughout the year, and we do a whole lot of intensive interviews with students and with our tutors. Developments were made at user-centered design. It's kind of like we're quite lazy. We let the tutors design what they wanted to do. We call buttons what the tutors wanted to be called, and we do the same with the students, and we talk about their workflows and what they'd like to happen. And if that means that it ends up being a bit like Blackboard, then fair enough. We haven't looked at the Blackboard in any way.
But Blackboard's got its strengths and weaknesses, but
Blackboard's very busy, isn't it? And we've kind of, our tutors tend to be quite minimal.
Before you keep going on, we did an evaluation of 3 options. That was the 1.6, and we were able to do evaluation on Mood 1.6, that's fair to say. Mood 1.9 could address all the issues that you wanted to address, or we could have that. And at that point, we didn't quite have kind of detailed evaluation of those options. Kind of risks, benefits, risks, costs defined. And basically, we felt that the least risky and the most beneficial option was to move to 1.9. But clearly, yeah, I mean, it was, there were things about that board that we liked, there were things about, it was just basically an evaluation. So at that point, we then needed some funds to kind of bring in additional resources to help us make changes that we had to make. Particularly, we wanted to do the evaluation, particularly talk about file name. That was a huge driver for them around thinking that 1.6 was what we wanted in our institution amongst development. And as a result of that, we put in a bit more funding to employ a second developer and to really address the file code and usability issues. So that's kind of our history really with Blackboard and putting them on our radar.
Okay, we'll draw things together because we're short on time, but I'm certainly looking forward to talking to you about 1 or 2 features, including let's find out messaging perhaps at lunchtime. I'm going to thank you for a fascinating and very exciting introduction there to Moodle, and personally I think that's one of the best looking Moodles I've seen for a long time, certainly for